presentation first, because obviously that has an effect on A and B. So come on down.
Okay.
This is for street land development, and hopefully this will answer the question we had in the public.
Now I have a presentation board. By the way, good evening, everybody, members of the board and the public. My name is Rolf, spelled R-O-L-P-H. Graf is the last name, G-R-A-F. I'm the Director of Development for Land Corps Engineering. I'm also a licensed engineer in the state of Pennsylvania, and I've been involved with the applicant for the project that's 1097 North State Street. I do have a board. Is there a preference on where I can put this up, just so everybody can see?
Anywhere there, just make sure you're going that way, because we have that, don't we?
Okay.
We don't have that. We don't have to do that.
I was thinking maybe,
Put it over. Now you got it.
I don't know if this is gonna be good for everybody to see,
I'll let you my glasses for this.
or if I can move it over there.
All right, my glasses.
All right. So again, my name's Rolf Graf. I'm with Land Corps Engineering. We're the civil engineering firm that's responsible for the development drawings. This project is being done for 1097 State Street. LP is the client. I have Mr. Don Guthrie here with us, or Guthrie. He's here with us tonight representing the applicant. I also have Mr. Dean Carr with us this evening, who is with Bowman. Dean is responsible for the traffic impact study and a lot of the improvements. So my goal for this evening is to simply introduce the project. I understand there's a couple new board members. So we wanted to just take a minute, introduce the project, give a little bit of background, and then I did want to discuss North State Street.
Okay.
So this project is in two different municipalities. The left side of the project is in West Pottsgrove, and if I can, the township line is basically an extension of Nagel Road. Comes through and then it comes down and it intersects with this private drive along the bottom of the sheet. The overall project is about 24 acres. Of that, 18 acres is in West Pottsgrove and about 6 acres is in Upper Pottsgrove. We've got Upland Square Road or Drive to the south, to the bottom of the sheet. That's the shopping center that has the Target and the movie theater is the way that I think of it. Along the right-hand side is North State Street. We used to have a beautiful label right underneath this chart that we put here, so that's not showing up right now, but North State Street is along the right side of the property. Right now, there's a single house on the property. It's mostly used for farming. There's some undisturbed areas in the middle. But our proposal is to take the properties and redevelop them using the Route 100 overlay district. So this property falls within the overlay district, which allows you various commercial type uses. So overall in West Pottsgrove, we've got a retail component, we've got a proposed grocery store, we've got a couple different pad sites. One of them includes a car wash, the other is going to be some type of a drive-through. All of the tenants have not yet been selected. That process is being finalized as we work through the plans. In the Upper Pottsgrove side, we have a proposed church. We have an automotive garage, and then again, some type of pad site, smaller pad site. It's probably going to be a drive-through, something along those lines. So the project has been through the approval process. We've been working with the Planning Commission, with staff in the township. Just for information purposes, over in West Pottsgrove, we do have preliminary plan approval. We do have what's called an NPDES permit for the project. For those not familiar with it, when you go to construction, you need a permit through the DEP. It's called an NPDES permit. It's a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System is what NPDES stands for. So it's basically your erosion control permit. It's a very difficult permit to get anymore. But we have that for this project for both sides. In Upper Pottsgrove, we don't have approval yet. We do need to come back with plans, so we're not looking for any kind of plan approval or direction tonight. Again, we just kind of wanted to give the layout of the project. But the one topic that we did want to discuss is State Street, North State Street, which is, again, that road that runs along the right-hand side. There's also a portion of it down here towards the bottom that you see. It's called out as Private Drive. That's the section of the roadway that's in front of the Citadel Bank. When that was all approved, that section of the road was made private to keep people from using it as a cut-through. So right now, there is a Jersey barrier along that roadway. As soon as you go beyond the Citadel driveway, there's a Jersey barrier on the one side, and then it's signed that you're not supposed to take access through that roadway. When we first started with the project, we did review that configuration with staff, with the township. We were made aware of the desire to put a cul-de-sac along this roadway to keep people from using it as a two-way street. So we did that. We took that to PennDOT. So there's what was called a scoping application. So anytime that you meet or have an application in front of PennDOT, there's a highway occupancy permit, we call it. The first step in that is to do a scoping application. That's where you meet with PennDOT, you invite representatives from the municipality. They come along, we discuss the road, we discuss the entrance, we discuss, what the issues are. So right now, PennDOT, during that initial scoping meeting, questioned whether or not we could open this road up to two-way traffic. The reason for it is the intersection of Upland Square with Pottstown Pike right now is functioning, but it's not functioning great. There are backlogs. I know that the intersection backs up, I believe, especially on weekends. So that existing intersection is a configuration that we don't have a whole lot of control over. As part of this development, we're making a bunch of improvements to Upland Square Drive. We're making improvements to the intersection with Pottstown Pike. We're making a bunch of improvements that we can based on our frontage. But the result of that intersection with Upland Square is not going to get better with this development and with the improvements that we're going to make. The only way that the traffic gets better is if you open up North State Street. Because what it does is North State Street essentially runs parallel to Pottstown Pike, and it gives you another entrance further up the roadway. So by opening that up, you would give this development the opportunity to not only go out on Upland Square Road, but to take North State Street and go up to the next intersection with Pottstown Pike, Route 100. There's a downside to that, obviously. Right now, the only people that use North State Street are the people that live on North State Street. It's not a heavily traveled road. This would add more traffic to it. The ideal situation would be a two-way street. That's going to add more traffic to North State Street, but it's going to improve the intersection of Upland Square Drive. The other option would be to make State Street just one way. Just let people leave going up State Street. So PennDOT likes both of those ideas because it distributes that traffic throughout the municipality a little bit better. Again, granted, at the cost of more traffic on North State Street. So we're here just to, again, when this first came out, we looked at the cul-de-sac option, we came to the township, we talked through the two-way traffic, and it was decided back then that the municipality still wanted the cul-de-sac, even though PennDOT was hoping to get this to be a two-way street. So our traffic study, everything that we've done anticipates this cul-de-sac, and then the rest of State Street would become essentially an emergency access. So the traffic that leaves this center would never be able to go that way. The only way they'd be able to go out is through the private drive, and I understand there's a cross easement that would allow that to happen. So we can continue to use that private drive to get out, but it doesn't get us out to Upland Square Road. It just gets us back into the shopping center, which it takes us on that circuitous route. So again, right now, everything is set up for the cul-de-sac. We're prepared to leave it as a cul-de-sac, but PennDOT has asked us to come to the township one last time just to confirm that this is the configuration that is preferred. So again, there's pros and cons to both. We're prepared to go either direction. So we're just looking to see if there's any final direction by the board. Again, I realize some of you aren't familiar with this project, even though we've been living it for a little while. So we understand you may have some questions. So that's what we're here for tonight, is to answer any of those questions and hopefully get some direction on the final decision on this cul-de-sac. So if it is decided that we do want to put the cul-de-sac in, restrict traffic here, we're prepared to do that. But just please understand that that then limits what we can do with Upland Square Drive. So there's only so much we'll be able to do there to improve that situation if we keep that roadway closed.
Anybody have any questions?
Comments.
Go ahead.
I've been dealing with this for probably about 12 years or so. When Upland Square was first developed, it was required that State Street be blocked off. When the developers moved over to the Citadel, it was required that State Street be blocked off. Anytime you come to the board or the planning commission, you've been told it needs to be blocked off and there needs to be a cul-de-sac there. That's the expectation we've always given. I haven't heard anybody on this, well, on previous boards, or I don't know if I'm gonna hear tonight from this board, that is at all interested in opening up State Street to shopping traffic, period.
Okay.
And we've had scoping meetings with PennDOT 2 back originally,
Yes.
and they made it very clear that Upper Pottsgrove was gonna be protected from having State Street opened up. It was all part of the agreement for Upland Square to be built, all part of the agreement for Citadel to be built. It's very clear, it's all in writing. Again, I don't know if this board's gonna say differently. I attended some planning commission meetings last year where they said the same thing.
Yep.
So that's me.
Okay, yeah, I mean, again, we're here really at the direction of PennDOT. They had asked us to come back and just kind of vet this issue one last time, so that's why we're here.
You did a very good job for PennDOT, you really did.
I have a question though, right? Obviously, you've already had approval, I'm guessing PennDOT. How much additional traffic does this new project expect to be on Upland Square?
So the exact numbers, I can't tell you. I do have Dean Carr here. He might be able to get into the peak hour increases based on this application. Keep in mind that this was a project, the West Pottsgrove side was a project back in 2018 that gained approval and actually had a PennDOT permit. In fact, I think we may still have that PennDOT permit open. So it already gained a PennDOT permit to do this. By adding the Upper Pottsgrove side, we have changed the scope of it a little bit, so that's why we're back in front of PennDOT.
Right.
And that's why it's reopened this issue, so.
Then I'm gonna guess that you couldn't answer the fact that how much traffic would we expect to use State Street then? If it was opened up?
So, yeah, looking at the peak hour trips, and I don't wanna be misquoted, there's, I mean, again, right now, today, it's almost zero.
I get it,
Right.
but I'm trying to figure out, see, if this were to open, what the ramifications are to those residents on State Street. Are we talking just a few cars, or are we talking thousands of cars? When it comes to the Upland Square, everyone here, everyone in this building probably has been through that and has to wait light after light after light to get through. The question just is, how much does that alleviate that? If it doesn't alleviate that, and it just makes State Street now another area for more traffic, and it doesn't help anything, that's my issue, isn't to, even considering something like this, would be, I would need to know what PennDOT is, their studies have said, how much traffic are we looking at gaining from this and alleviating if we did open up State Street, and in essence, like, what would that actually mean to the area?
Yeah, and I can tell you that the level of service, so a lot of the PennDOT traffic impacts, it's all based on level of service, right? It's a grading system, A through F. And just like in school, an A is great and F is not so good. What you don't want is to degrade an intersection. That's, to make an intersection a worse level of service. And that's what happens with Upland Square Road.
Correct.
Is it drops a level of service. And even by putting in the mitigation efforts, all that we can across our frontage and out to the intersection, we're still not gonna make it better. It's always gonna be that. So unless we open up North State Street to two-way traffic, that will mitigate, that does drop that level of service down to what it is today or better. But the exact number of trips, I don't know what that, but it is several hundred, it's not thousands. I mean, we're talking in the magnitude of 500 to 600 trips.
I'd like to make a comment. The impact, the people from, that live off of Chestnut Grove would use that. The people that live off of Pine Ford would want to use State Street. But I don't think it's fair to the residents that reside on State Street for them to have to put up with more traffic on their road. So I'm in agreement. I think we should keep it a cul-de-sac. So it's not an impact for the residents that live on State Street.
Okay.
I had that happen to me on Heather Place where they opened up, I had a cul-de-sac when we first moved there,
Mm-hmm.
and they opened that road up. So now we have people traveling on Heather Place at a higher rate of speed than what they should be. And we have children that live off of Heather Place. So I wanna speak with the chief later on, but, I wanna be respectful to the people that live on State Street.
How many
So we
homes are
keep
there?
it a
Like 10 or
cul-de-sac.
12, right? I believe.
How many homes?
Yeah, right, we're in that area, it's like 10 or 12 on North State Street.
Yeah, I mean,
That
well,
would
it's,
get
it's,
affected,
it's
I'm
really,
saying.
it would affect, I think, really the whole State Street up into the next intersection, so it's more than,
Okay.
it's more than 10 homes.
I do agree. The people that live along there have lived there a long time. So they're used to, they're not gonna be happy with people driving through. And the more people that go there, they're going to use, they're gonna take that as a shortcut to avoid the other things. So we're just gonna tie up two lights. I agree, that intersection is bad. I go to Upland Square quite often. It's bad, but sometimes I think like, why didn't people who developed that, why didn't they take that into consideration when they were drawing up these plans? It seems like by the time things go from conception to building, it's already antiquated, it's done, you know.
Yeah.
We've
yeah.
already outgrown it.
Yeah, in this situation, that does seem to have happened,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know when Upland Square was
Well,
put
I
in,
know,
or,
you know, you're just the person standing in front of me right now.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, you're the person I tell.
yes.
But I see that with a lot of things, especially roads. It's like, why didn't you foresee this, that more development's coming in, everything's coming in? You don't need 3 lanes, we need 4 lanes,
Right,
you know, make room.
right.
So, and I mean, the whole area is just, everything's just growing and there's roads being enlarged, and 422 was outgrown before they, I think I graduated from high school and was married with a kid by the time they finished that,
Yeah.
you know, the whole connection, so.
I mean, there are mitigation efforts that we're taking, and it is going to improve things, but again, I mean, for this to really function at its best, it would be to open that road. But again, that's not taking into consideration existing conditions, right? Like, I get it, that there's a lot of people that have lived there. It's been a certain way for a very long time, and to change it now would be a burden.
It would.
But then, you know, when you look at the overall community, there may be a benefit to it. So that's kind of the balancing act.
I stated before, I wanna see a cul-de-sac there, that's what was promised, that's what we have. Gotta respect the people of the area.
Okay. All right.
More. And just to comment on why the intersection's so difficult, it's not so much Upland Square, it's Commerce Drive. It's the 5-point intersection there where they've gotta open up, put the stoplight up there
Oh, yeah.
for a 5th lane. That is really what causes the backup in there. And I don't know how they can ever really take care of that. But because it's just not a simple cross street, it's got that extra leg.
Right.
That's another cycle of lights and so forth. So that's a lot of the reason why we get a difficult time getting through there.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, I know I saw something, I don't know if it's included here, about buying property off of Nagel or whatever it is and adding it to the plan and and I was concerned if there was access for the people whose homes are on there. Are you familiar? I saw that come through, I don't know if that's here.
So, yeah, so we are looking at, we have an agreement of sale on the neighboring property. It's not becoming part of this development, it's
Okay.
staying its own parcel, but it does help us with grading. So along the back there, the back of the church, there's a fairly steep embankment there. It would have resulted in a retaining wall. That's what was shown on the original drawing. So by having access to the property, we can grade that out with a 3-to-1 slope. We don't need the retaining wall anymore.
So there'll be no problem with access for the people on, I think it's Nagel,
Nagel, correct.
So-
Whatever
the one.
Newman, I
Oh,
think.
Newman, okay.
That's Moon's.
So those people, I know property shifting around or be developed, I imagine cul-de-sac will be going in there of some sort,
Correct.
and they will all have access.
Yes.
The other question involved the property closer to 100.
Yep.
That also needs access. Is
Yes.
that being considered in this grand scheme?
Yes, so that's the main reason for our access out onto North State Street. Plus with this being opened up, that allows them to do that route. So they can get out through us and out to Upland Square, or they can go the other direction.
Good. So I hope-
Okay?
Any other questions, comments? Well, I think you have.
Yes.
corrected.
I
I have
appreciate
someone
your
in the
time.
back has a question. Now, we can't ask, you're not gonna ask him, but if you wanna ask the board, go right ahead.
Yeah, sure, so it concerns this issue here, right, so I live in, Upper Potts Grove, I live on Cruise Avenue, and I'm not so much directly affected by Upland Square, but I do go there quite a bit, and I see that when you come in out of Upland Square and go across to State Street, the way that light is, people, what happens is it gets so backed up, people get risky. They'll
Yes.
run through the stale yellow,
Yes.
red, and so, to me, it's not a matter of if it's not gonna get any better, the question is, will it get any worse?
It's going to get worse
Negative, but
as
people-
more, if we
people's
don't
lives will
open
get-
up, if you don't open up State Street, which I understand that the board would prefer not to. If you don't open up State Street, yes, it's, you put more commercial in there, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
It's impossible, it has to.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget, 15 years from now, when the Brady's are gonna take what the Pottsgrove's paying for
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's true too, of course.
Don't forget that. Big expense there. Look at Farmington Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Major expenses.
Yeah, I appreciate all your comments and thoughts. I just wanted to point out, I've actually walked down there and overlooked that intersection at different times. My wife likes to walk down there because it's just about a mile round trip for the walk. I don't see how opening State Street is gonna do anything but take most of the traffic that backs up at Route 100 into the mall. It's just gonna back up at the intersection that connects into State Street and back up further into the mall. So I don't understand how opening State Street improves the traffic issue there, coming out from, Giant and the road in front of the Citadel. I don't see how that improves that at all, because most of the traffic, to be honest, will be trying to go up North State Street, or they're gonna end up backing up, going out to Route 100. So I just don't see that. And from a volume perspective, when they opened up the back of Upland Square, we went from maybe a dozen or 15 cars per hour on State Street and Leavengood to basically 30 to 40, depending on what time of the day you look at it. And that was shown by the township's traffic study they did in 2018. And the speeds, I think 10 to 12% are going over 40 miles per hour, and over 0.5% are going over 50 miles per hour. But when you figure it's roughly 900 cars a day coming up and down State Street, that's a lot of cars going really fast. So I agree with you guys that if you put more development in down there, it's not gonna get any better. And I just don't, like I said, I don't see how opening up State Street in one direction or two directions is gonna fix the problems there with that whole intersection. Why didn't they make two big entrances like that coming out to Route 100 when they first developed the mall? To your point of thinking ahead in development and everything else that was gonna be developed, it just seems really short-sighted how they put that whole thing together.
I appreciate your comments, but yes, it does look like the board would prefer the cul-de-sac. So, going back now to A and B, which we have motions for, which we'll make the motions in a second. If I understand, this is to just extend so that they can do what's necessary.
Continue working with you, yes.
All right, I'm gonna ask for, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Let me get a picture of your board.
I'm gonna ask for a motion for A, for consider approval for an extension request for review of 1097 State Street minor subdivision.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
I didn't, but I can.
Second.
All those in favor, any questions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're gonna do B, consider approval for the extension request, I need a motion,
I'll make the motion.
I need a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank
And
you.
C, consider for approval for another extension, this is Coolidge Common, which I believe also is part of that? That's not part of you guys,
Yeah.
right? But it's also part of another subdivision that looks to get an extension so that they can keep working and going through the motion. And we have to give approval if they wanna continue working.
Mr. Sherman, how long were the extensions for?
Usually
They're
90
usually like
days.
90 days, yeah.
Usually 90 days.
I'd have to clarify to be exact, but I believe 90 days. But I'll have to clarify, that. Sherry, can you put that down on a note to clarify for
30
us?
days, which is Coolidge, and then.
Which one's 30?
Coolidge,
Coolidge was 30.
30, and what is
And,
A and B?
Where
were
are
90.
They're 90. So Coolidge is 30, 90 for the others.
right.
I still need a motion for the Coolidge.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, what everybody's been waiting on. Section E, consider authorization for the solicitor to terminate the contract for 2290 Gilbertsville Road. All right, I do have a motion that has to be made instead. I need a motion to authorize Township Solicitor Kilkenny Law to take the appropriate actions required to terminate all contracts associated with the construction of the new township building at 2290 Gilbertsville Road. I need a motion first.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All right, comments and questions?
No,
No comments and questions?
I'm good.
Comments and questions?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
We've been being told for the last 6 months that if we did this, we'd be costing the township with $9 million.
Yes, sir.
We've seen that in board meetings, we've seen that in the courtroom, we've seen that in social media. And I'd like to read you something. In social media, the claim that this action, canceling the contracts, does not put residents at final risk is simply false. If the court halts progress, even temporarily, the township stands to face up to $9 million in contractual obligations. Okay, that appeared in a public document. We tried for months to get a look at the contracts. We couldn't see them. We didn't get a hold of the contracts until
The 6th.
the 6th. In the contract, these are the words. The owner, the township, may at any time terminate the contract for the owner's convenience without cause and without penalty. Without penalty. The contractor shall be entitled to receive payment for the owner from all work performed through the date of the termination, but shall not be entitled to any other payment or to damages of any kind as a result of the termination, including that lost, not limited to lost profits or overhead or the unperformed portion of the work. The amount of any termination fee, none. That's in the contracts. That's what it says. And yet we were being scared or frightened or bullied into thinking, and even at the last meeting, we had a township resident say, you might be losing $9 million if you go ahead with that plan. They had the contracts. It said only pay for the work that was done. Am I right, solicitor?
That's correct.
I'm right.
And folks, you understand that they want to build on open space. There's a law in Pennsylvania that says you can't build on open space. And they're gonna fight that. And they spent an enormous amount of money fighting the state because they wanted to build on open space, wasting our tax dollars. So you wanna look at where the $2 million went? I'm thinking probably in law fees.
If I could just add on to that, it wasn't just the law fee, it was engineering.
They did engineering class.
Engineering was off the charts. And I know Dave and I did what we could to make them hold back, but we're only 2 of 5 votes. But, it was lawsuits, it was engineering costs that really skyrocketed. And it was very upsetting to sit here and not be able to really, to just watch that money just go out the door. Understanding, you know, we do need money for new facilities and we do need money for other things too. Roads, equipment, for fire company, for public works, for the police, for admin. There's other expenses to consider. And it was just foolish to move ahead with all that when we had litigation on everything. That's just my 2 cents that I can say now.
So even after losing the case, they continue to fight the case. So you gotta ask yourself, why?
Yeah, these contracts that we're fighting now were signed while a judge was considering what to do about those contracts. A lot of the money that we're gonna have to wind up paying because of what's been done in the last couple of months occurred because contracts were signed when the judge had not yet ruled on a case that he had heard. And we know that that judge was the same judge that had ruled earlier, you can't do that. And the judge was true to form, and he said, no, you can't do it at Gilbertsville either. And so now we have these contracts to deal with, we're terminating the contracts, but we will be on the hook for what's already been done.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor to terminate the contracts?
Why?
Any opposed? Motion carries. I have a second motion, this is F now, this is the one we added. I need a motion to retain outside counsel for the purpose of withdrawing the appellate case of Taylor versus Slinkard et al. Due to the conflict of the solicitor, Keller County Law, because they obviously were involved in the original lawsuit. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Second. Any particular comments or anything? Just so the public understands, obviously, since our solicitor was involved in the lawsuit, they also cannot be involved in terminating the appellate case. They can terminate the actual case, but not the appellate case. So, we're going to, what do you call it, we're gonna receive outside counsel. We do not have outside counsel as of yet. We'll see who we decide to go with. I would recommend Eric, because Eric did obviously handle everything and it'd probably be the easiest situation. If he's willing to be the special counsel, that's the only requirement. All right, I have a second and a first, and I have all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we're gonna move over to new business. All right.